All right. The Brian Setzer Orchestra on FM 101.9. Also, Pete Roche from the Beautiful Girl soundtrack, and Bob Dylan with Ballad of a Thin Man brings us up to 2 o'clock. I'm Nicole Sandler. I've moved into the FM 101.9 Music Hall, and I'm in the presence of a return guest, Bruce Cockburn. Welcome back.
Thanks. It's nice to be back.
It's great to have you here. Well, by way of introduction, he possesses 13 gold records. No, I screwed up when I was copying it over. 13 gold, I want to say it, 3 platinum records, 10 Juno Awards, and you're about to release your 23rd album.
That's correct.
Wow. You've been doing this for a long time, eh?
Yeah, how did you guess? No, I did it all in 2 years.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
I'm only 14, really. Yeah, it's been a while. If you live long enough, you get to do stuff.
Well, the new album, called Charity of the Night, comes out February 4th. Mm-hmm. So you're doing just a little promotional thing to let people know it's on its way? Yeah,
it starts here in L.A. and heads north and east from here. So it's interesting. I'm kind of champing at the bit because the album's been done for a couple of months now, and you have to wait through the manufacturing process and the record and the cover making process and all the rest of the stuff. And I'm kind of really glad to be out on the road actually discussing the album and singing some of the songs from it.
But you're not doing any shows as such. You're doing radio things and just letting people know it's coming.
Yeah, this is strictly a kind of advance warning trip.
Okay, because since we've been announcing that you're going to be here, people have been calling and asking if you're playing. It's like, is there a McCabe show or is there anything going on? So this is it, huh?
This is it for now. Yeah,
okay.
We'll be back in the spring. There'll be some sort of actual concert event in the spring, but exactly when, I'm not sure yet.
Okay, well, you can look for the album Charity of Night on February 4th when it hits stores. You're going to start today with an older favorite so people could go, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Right?
Yeah, something like that.
Bruce Cockburn is with us in the Music Hall at FM 101.9.
Rainforest, mist and mystery, teeming green, green brain facing lobotomy, climate control center for the world, ancient court of coexistence hacked by parasitic greedhead scam. From Sarawak to Amazonas, Costa Rica to mangy BC hills, cortege rhythm of falling timber. What kind of currency grows in these new deserts? These brand new floodplains. If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear? If a tree in the forest, does anybody hear? Anybody hear the forest fall? Cut and move on. Cut and move on. Take out trees. Take out wildlife at a rate of a species every single day. Take out people who lived with this for 100,000 years. Inject 1 billion burgers worth of beef. Grain eaters. Methane dispensers. Through thinning ozone, waves fall on wrinkled earth. Gravity, light, ancient refuse of stars speak of a drowning. But this is something other. Busy monster eats dark holes in the spirit world, where wild things have to go. to disappear forever. If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear? If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear? Anybody hear the forest fall? If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear? If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear? Anybody hear the forest fall?
Oh, yeah. Bruce Cockburn in the Music Hall at FM 101.9. Wow. Listening to you do that brings, I could go in 20 different directions now. I got to figure out which way to go. First, your guitar playing. I just love listening to you and watching you play. When you write, do your lyrics come first or does the music come first?
The lyrics come first almost 100% of the time. I think there may be 2 songs over the years that came out the other way, but it's usually a case of waiting till I've got at least a verse, and usually more like a complete set of lyrics before I start looking for music that's suitable to carry them. It's a bit like putting music to a film, I suppose, in a way. It's a similar kind of process.
Because you kind of paint a picture with the words and you're creating a story or whatever, and then the music fits the mood.
Yeah.
So that would determine the force with which you're playing those strings.
That and the spasmodic dictates of the moment.
Okay, well, for as long as you've been making music, and long before it was fashionable, you've been possessed of a real social consciousness. You've been calling attention to causes, the environment being one of them. What is taking up your mind these days?
Well, I mean, the same old things go on. The songs like that, unfortunately, are not going out of date.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue, I suppose, with which I've been most closely connected in the last year has been that of landmines and the global attempt to get them banned. It's an issue that's only starting to become familiar to the public in North America because we're so isolated from such things. But the more we have peacekeeping forces going here and there, and the more exposure the issue gets, the greater awareness is obviously. And it's evident for lots of reasons that landmines should be treated under international law much the same way chemical weapons or nuclear weapons are. They're an indiscriminate weapon whose target is mostly civilians, and they don't, when you have a war going and everybody's shooting at everybody else, it's kind of okay, well, you know what the risks are. But when the war's over, and they put the guns away, the mines are still sitting there in the ground, and they will have a lifespan of anywhere up to 50 years.
Wow. You're right. That's something we don't really think about here because we're not in danger of driving over a landmine or stepping on one, or it's not in our own backyard.
Not at this point, at
Right,
least, anyway.
Right.
But there have been, I've been in a few places that have that problem, and the most recent one was, I probably won't get around to singing that song now, but on the album there's a song called The Mines of Mozambique that was written in that country about a little over a year ago when I was there studying the issue of landmines specifically on behalf of some Canadian agencies that are working there. And it's really it's a plague like AIDS or like any other of the modern mystery plagues that are upon us, except there's nothing mysterious about it other than the reluctance of certain governments to get behind the move to ban them.
So is there a movement to do this?
There's a very strong movement. It's a movement that's supported by the UN, by the Vatican, by every development agency that's doing work in the third world, by every country's government which has a landmine problem. And they are always, or nearly always, third world countries, with the exception of Bosnia and some of the former Soviet republics. But they're countries whose economies are in a shambles already anyway from civil war and from the post-colonial experience, and now they're in any attempt to reconstruct those economies or get them going in the first place is hampered by the presence of mines, which keep people from farming and growing food. They keep people from traveling from place to place or shipping goods from place to place, and they constitute a huge public health problem because, every time a kid steps on one and is not killed, you have somebody that's going to need, over the course of their lifetime, if it's a young child, maybe 6 or 7 different prosthetic limbs as they grow.
Yeah.
Somebody has to pay for that. Somebody has to make the things and get them to them. Somebody has to treat them medically in the other ways that are required. And it's so everything about it is bad.
Yeah, well, obviously.
And for even from a military point of view, there's not a great deal of justification for them. In the first place, there's a lot of soldiers that don't particularly care for landmines either. So,
and a film that's very popular right now, The English Patient. There's a very horribly moving scene dealing with the landmine as well. It's
yeah. Well, I haven't seen the movie. I read the book a while back, and my experience with landmines suggests that Michael Ondaatje was just being slightly fanciful with his understanding of what demining is all about, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know everything about it, but certainly I stood in minefields in Mozambique and watched people working at them, trying to clear them, and it's a frightening experience.
Bruce Cockburn is with us in the Music Hall at FM 101.9. You are one of the most visible artists who merges successfully, the causes and your commitment to bettering the world, I suppose, and your music. Jackson Browne and Bonnie Raitt are others, and Bonnie is one of the guests on your new album.
Yeah, Bonnie plays a beautiful slide guitar part on a song called The Whole Night Sky.
You don't have her sing. You have her feature her guitar playing, which is magnificent.
Yeah, I thought Bonnie, I don't know this, but I suspected that Bonnie probably gets asked to sing on lots of stuff, and that some of the people who've heard her records but haven't seen her play may not be as aware as some of us are of what a great guitar player she is. So
and her slide playing may be almost as distinctive as her voice.
I'd say so, yeah.
What other guests? You've got a lot of special guests on this record.
Oh, we got legions of them. Bob Weir sings a harmony part on that same song, and the bulk of the background vocals on the album are done by Patty Larkin and Jonathan Brooke. The band consists of, that played the tracks, consists of myself on guitar, a drummer from Toronto named Gary Craig, Rob Wasserman on bass, and Gary Burton on vibes. Ani DeFranco sings on one song.
Now, how are you associated with Ani DeFranco? Just a fan, or?
I'm certainly a fan. I'm a hardcore fan, I guess. But I met Ani about a year and a half ago when we did a festival together in Colorado, and that summer we did a couple of other things, and that we were both part of. And then I've run into her a few times since, and so fortunately I was able to corral her into being on the record.
Terrific. Well, the new album we're talking about is The Charity of Night. Bruce Cockburn's with us in the Music Hall. You want to do one from the album?
I would like to, actually, and coincidentally, it's the song that Ani sings on the record.
Great.
well, you haven't heard it, so you won't know what you're missing. But every time I sing it, I hear her voice coming in at the appointed time. This is called Get Up Jonah. Just going to make a little adjustment in the volume here, I think. That would be more like the way we set it up now. I woke up thinking about Turkish drummers. It didn't take long. I don't know much about Turkish drummers. But it made me think of Germany and the guy who sold me cigarettes who'd been in the Afghan secret police, who made the observation that it's hard to live. Then I was reminded of the proprietor of a Vietnamese restaurant in Quebec who used to be head of the secret police in Da Nang. And it occurred to me I was thinking all this stuff to keep from thinking about something else. Isn't that just what secret police are all about now? Somebody stands in a window, watches the river roll. Trains rumble in the foreground with the weight of approaching dawn. Flames from the refinery rise broken red and riveting. And the high vault of heaven looks far away and cold. There's a howling in the factory yard. There's a pounding in my head. I'm swollen up with unshed tears. Bloated like the dead. Blood and ashes, time burning. On the skyline dark against the stars, a solitary horseman waiting. Lashed to the wheel, whipping into the storm. Get up, Jonah. It's your time to be born. Get up, Jonah. It's your time to be born.
Bruce Cockburn in the FM 101.9 Music Hall. Get Up Jonah, a song that will be found on The Charity of Night. It'll be out in stores on February 4th. Want to do one more?
Have we got enough time?
Sure.
Well, you can always turn it off in the middle if you need to anyway.
No.
This is I'll sing another one from the album then.
Great. Now, since you don't have a show coming up in town, we got to give the people a little more here.
If we didn't have to go on to the next town, we could just keep on doing this one.
All right. Where are you heading to next?
San Francisco next. We fly up there tonight. And then on up the coast, and then on eastward from there.
Notice you keep coming down here in the winter months. Is that to get away from the cold of Canada?
It's because I miss the water.
I see. Okay.
I love coming to LA, as a matter of fact. A lot of people I know from elsewhere don't like it, but I'm very fond of it.
We have some good things to offer here.
I think so. This is called Night Train. It's not a very original title, but the song isn't like any of the other ones that have it, so I figured I was okay. Oop. A little sharp still. Not a knife throw from here, you can hear the night train passing. That's the sound somebody makes when they're getting away, leaving next week's hanging jury far behind them, the prisoner only of the choices they've made. Night train. Night train. Ice cube in a dark drink shines like starlight. The moon is floating somewhere out at sea. I'm an island in the blur of noise and color. Alcatraz, St. Helena, Patmos, and the shadow deep. Night train. Night train. And everyone's an island edged with sand, a temporary refuge where somebody else can stand, till the sea that binds us like the forced tide of a blood oath, dissolve it, recombine it. Anyone can die here, they do it every day. Doesn't take much effort, though it goes against the grain. And the ultimate forgetfulness of violence sweeps the landscape like the headlight of a train. Night train. Night train. dark drink shines like starlight. Starlight shines like glass shards in dark hair. And the mind's eye tumbles out along the steel track, fixing every shadow with its stare. Night train. Night train. And in the absence of a vision, there are nightmares. And in the absence of compassion, there is cancer, whose banner waves over palaces and mean streets. And the rhythm of the night train is a mantra.
Bruce Cockburn on FM 101.9. Thank you so much for coming in today. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for having me.
The new album is called The Charity of Night. Be looking for it. February 4th is a release date. And you come back and do a show or two or three in the area soon, all right?
We'll do our best.
All right. We are LA's finest rock, FM 101.9. Thanks again.